Yo, what's good? My name is Ethan. I'm a 16-year-old day trader from Canada, and I'm coming on YouTube and I'm coming on social media to kind of document my journey on becoming a profitable trader and being an entrepreneur at such a young age and some of the challenges that I deal with, and to talk about some of my goals and visions I have for myself and things I'm experiencing along my journey to profitability as a trader and also just throughout my life. And I feel like it's a good thing to come on here and kind of document the raw reality of being a 16-year-old day trader and entrepreneur, because I feel like there's a lot of other people in a similar position as me where they might feel lost in their journey they're in, and they might feel lost on where to start of being an entrepreneur, what business model they want to get into, etc. So today in this video I wanted to talk about the idea of seasons in your life and how those will affect how you feel in the relationships you have in your life. And I also wanted to talk about the art of perception and how it applies to trading. So let's get into it. So start with the art of perception. So what I mean by the art of perception is the idea that the way you perceive everything in life will make you have a different feeling or opinion on that certain topic or thing that's happening. So I'm currently reading this book. It's called Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas, and one of my trading mentors recommended this video in this book to me, and I've just started reading the book, but I've already obtained so much more knowledge from reading this book than I have from any YouTube video on psychology and trading. And at my point in trading right now, I've just passed my first evaluations. I'm on my 50K Express now with Top Step, and I'm starting to realize how much psychology truly means to your trading and how it will truly affect how long your journey will be to profitability. So I've been trading for about a year and a half now. Obviously, I've thought about psychology and trading, but first I was kind of figuring out the whole process of trading and like learning my model of my breakout retest model and stuff like that. And now I'm kind of focusing more on the psychology part of trading to get myself to my first payout. And perception, when Mark Douglas talked about perception in chapter 2 or 3 in this book, it was very important to me because he mentioned that there was a novice trader that started off his trading journey and he had strings of wins. He had so many wins. He didn't know what it was like to lose. His first 3 trades or however many trades he took were complete wins, no losses. So he was going into every single market day trading. He was going into it thinking, "Oh yeah, this is what I see. I'm gonna take a buy or sell, right?" And the raw reality of that is he had no fear entering his positions, and since he was taking so many wins, he didn't know what it was like to lose. He went in with such a winner's mindset, and we'll talk about the winner's mindset later on in this topic of perception. But once he felt the loss and he saw his first loss, the author Mark actually talked about how he experienced pain and emotional pain of the fact that now he's losing from trading, and that created fear in his next days of trading, and it led to strings of losses. So in trading, there's mentalities of, and there's problems that all of us traders struggle with psychology wise, where it's like we either have a fear of taking a trade or we have a fear of the trade hitting or not hitting, like losing, right? So since this novice trader didn't know what it was like to lose and then he finally lost, now he was trying to look at why he was losing and try to learn more strategies, more confluences to why he was losing so that he could prevent that loss. And that novice trader, what he didn't understand was that was actually digging him into a deeper hole. And that's what most trading guys on the internet now they call it analysis paralysis, and I completely agree with that. A lot of trading is not necessarily about is not necessarily about having 5 confluences or 10 confluences and having the most insane strategy to trade with, but more of the fact that you have a small set of confluences you look for, you have a bias on the day, and you have a winner's mindset, and you have a perception of looking at the market objectively. So looking at truly what's happening in the market and setting your feelings aside and your emotions aside of fearing the market and fearing of losing. And once you're able to apply this mentality of a winner's mindset and just taking your setup when you see it based off an objective opinion of the market and objective perception on the market, then you're going to be able to take more wins. Because in reality with trading, it's kind of like sports. If you are confident in the game of golf and you are afraid of making a bad hit on the ball, you're afraid of swinging the wrong way, hitting the ball, or going into a bunker, then the raw reality is when you look for that good shot, or you go to take a risky shot, that's going to be in the back of your mind, and that's going to hold you back from making that risky good shot with another club you wouldn't typically use, or it will change your perspective on things. So a lot of what Mark Douglas was talking about was the idea that you need to perceive the market in a winner's mentality kind of way. So looking at the market like an objective way and not caring about the losses, right? Obviously with trading, we're always going to see losses. It's part of the game. Trading is about minimizing those losses, but what I've come to learn is the only way to truly grow is if you objectively see your setup in the market, you apply it, not having fear of taking the setup, and then you take the win or take the loss, and then you go from there, right? So again, like going back to the art of perception, the way we perceive the market is honestly how fast we could see results with trading. And I'm honestly making this change to my way of trading now, and going into how I think about the market now. Obviously it's so cliche to say that like you need to have a winner's mentality and all of these things, but the reality is like if you're scared of taking a loss, and you're scared of this one thing that another person you're trading with, or another strategy that another person's stream you're watching that's trading a different strategy looking at, and it's not your setup. If you're afraid of what they're seeing and how they're looking at the market, and you're not looking at the market for your model and how you trade and how you've collected data backtesting, then ultimately that's going to affect the way you enter your setup and you think about trading in general. You're going to be feared of taking these setups, right? So a lot of it comes down to the way you perceive the market, and I'll end it off there. But the next thing I wanted to talk about is the idea of seasons in life, and seasons in trading, and seasons of being an entrepreneur. So when I talk about seasons, I was at a Bible study with a few of my friends, and we go every few weeks now, and we really like the guy that we really like the pastor that leads this Bible study, because he's been an entrepreneur, and he also relates it to God's teachings and stuff like that. But he talked about how seasons are inevitable in life, and how a lot of the time we look at bad times as they're gonna last forever. We look at good times as we're on top of the world and we're so prideful. Reality is, when we go through a bad season, it's not gonna last for the rest of our life, right? We're gonna see times where we struggle with, having the motivation, having the discipline to go into the gym, right? We're gonna have times where we struggle with being able to, again, have the right mentality going into trading the market, or we're gonna go through times where we struggle to figure out what truly is right on the internet about trading, what truly is wrong about trading on the internet, and we're gonna go through different seasons of life. And the reality is, you're gonna go through different seasons whether you like it or not. There are gonna be seasons where you have everything you possibly could want, right? You're so prideful. God has given you so much, and you think you have it all, and then the next few months, the next season comes around, and boom, you don't have anything, right? You're doubtful, and the stuff you're doing, you're less motivated, you don't have as much energy, whatever it is, right? So my Bible study pastor, he talked about how there's times to tear and there's times to sow. So what he kind of meant by this was the fact that there's times where there's seasons where you're gonna be down, you're gonna be teared apart, and there's things that are gonna come affect you, and they're gonna build you as a person. They're gonna tear you apart to your lowest of lows. They're gonna put you in the basement, right? They're gonna put you on rock bottom, and then there's gonna be times where you have to sit there and be like, okay, I'm at rock bottom now. It's time to sew, right? It's time to sew this clothing back together. It's time to climb out of this rock, this hole that I thought I was in that was never ending, but it turns out there's a basement, and there's a floor of this basement, and there's a staircase to go up that I just have to climb up through it and sew, right? So obviously I'm kind of using other words and other analogies I could say to describe seasons of life, and like what kind of happens to all of us, because we all experience different seasons and different times of struggles and successes. But this really applies to my life and trading, because we go through times where we do not know when we are going to see that evaluation pass. Like me as a beginner trader, I never knew when I was going to see that evaluation passed on my Top Step dashboard, right? But I always knew that it's seasons, right? And as long as I stick through it, I'm gonna get to my ultimate goal of passing my first funded. And then now I'm on XFAs, and I'm gonna get to my first payout, and then I'm gonna get to my first 10K in payouts, my first 100K in payouts, million funded, whatever it is, right? So another thing to add to seasons in life and seasons with being an entrepreneur is, a lot of people like to think that if they had so much money in the world, they would be so fulfilled and so happy. But I think that the true fulfillment comes from the fact that we went through these seasons of struggle. We went through these seasons of, we thought we had it all, and then we actually lost, and we didn't know as much as we thought we did, right? So it goes back to the fact that money doesn't really mean anything, and having a strong physique in the gym doesn't really mean anything unless we actually put the work in and go through those times and those seasons of struggle, those seasons where they tear us apart, and we're in that bottomless hole that we think is bottomless, and there's a basement, right? And this is truly what builds us into good traders and good entrepreneurs and good people of God, right? So to finish all of this up and sum all of this up, I know I'm kind of rambling. This is my first YouTube video, so forgive me if I'm a little bit kind of off topic or rambling a little bit, but I wanted to sum all this up by saying that there are seasons of life, and if you are in a season where you are struggling, you're in a season where you think you have it all, it's important to remember that we have goals and we have all of these things that we want in life and we desire to have, but without God guiding us on that yellow brick road, we're never going to get there. And with God guiding us, we're truly going to go to the right place in life. And also, to sum up the art of perception, and especially for it to do with trading, if you're a day trader and you're watching this video, remember the fact that the way you perceive the market and the way you perceive taking wins and losses, the way you perceive having a winning mentality versus having a loser's mentality is really going to change the way you trade. Because if you only think about trading for the money and getting that payout, the reality is maybe you will get that string of wins, maybe you will get lucky, maybe you will get that payout, but will you truly have that consistency with trading, getting those payouts, if you don't understand what a loss is, if you're not okay with accepting a loss and walking away from the market, and you're not okay with entering a setup knowing that, oh yeah, there's a 75% probability that this works out and a 25% probability that it doesn't work out. So whether you're in that season of struggle, you're in that season of you feel like you have it all, understand that everything does change. Like in Canada here, we go from really dark winters where we have lots of snow and lots of cold, to spring where the flowers bloom and it rains and pours and the sun shows finally, we get warmer weather, to the summer where it's very sunny and warm, we're at the beach always, to fall when it starts to get cold, windier, a little bit darker, and the leaves change colors, right? And understand that seasons are always going to be changing and everything's always going to be in a constant motion. And if you're not ready to accept the fact that you're going to go through different seasons, you're going to have to perceive these situations and seasons as different ways of looking at it, aside from just, oh, I'm in a dark hole, how am I going to get out of this? Then you're going to be truly stuck for a while, because you need to understand It is all about how you perceive these seasons in life. And I'll end it off there. I hope you guys have a good night. I hope you guys stay blessed. Amen.